Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and Season 2 has officially been announced. I just made a video reviewing all of the features for the next patch and what I think of them. If you want to check that out, I'll have the video linked at the end of this one, but I had a ton of comments asking me to review how to prepare for Season 2. What are some of the most efficient steps? How can you get a leg up on the competition for the beginning of Season 2 to make it as painless as possible if you're thinking about coming back to the game and you've been gone for some time now? And what types of advantages can you get before it's even started? And we're also going to look at some rewards that are permanently going away. So these are rewards that if you care about maximizing your account and increasing its value, then they're definitely going to be rewards that you want to check out and make sure that you are getting. Now, in general for the game, if you want to level characters, the most effective leveling route is still time walking, which is still available here in the Dungeon Finder. I just finished leveling my monk, preparing it for Season 2 because it is getting a really cool transmogs and a lot of cool reworks and tune-ups for the class in general. So I'm really excited to test out the new abilities on Windwalker Monk and test out some of the power that Mistweaver is likely going to be offering us in Season 2. So I leveled that up already here in Time Walking Dungeons. It's just going to be a really effective way to do it. In PvP, if you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of gear really quickly and you haven't played the game in some time, you don't want to get stomped on, you can stomp on some computers. The Brawl for Comp Stomp is back. This is the best time to farm honor and get back into PvP because this Brawl is very easy in order to play, even if you've got PvE gear, even if you've just played in a long time or you just dinged max level. This mode is the most cost-effective way of getting gear, and it's going to allow you to get basically a full stack of honor, which is then going to allow you to come into this little room here and purchase full honor gear. If I can remember the vendor, it's over here to the right, and you're going to be able to buy a full set of honor gear. And it's not going to take you any time at all. This honor gear takes very little amount of time. This is kind of just like most bang for your buck with the least amount of effort involved. Now you can skip this if you want to, because obviously what you're going to want to do ideally is farm this full set of honor so that the next season starts. And you're basically going to do the same thing again to farm the new honor gear, because the new honor gear next season in Season 2 is going to be higher item level than this conquest gear. So if you just don't like the meta currently, or you don't like how your class plays right now, you don't really want to play a lot of PvP in the current patch, you could just farm this full set of honor. Another thing to also consider is that they likely will add bind on equip gear to the auction house, and that bind on equip PvP gear, I don't think it's going to be higher item level than the conquest gear, but it's probably going to be pretty close. So if you want like if you got some gold on your hands, then you can just log in basically on the patch day and likely create a lot of the PvP crafted gear, and that's going to snap your item level up a lot, and then you can just queue up, farm the honor set, and you're basically ready to go. It's really not painful at all. That's why I say at the start of the season, it's a nice kind of just reset. These are the best ways to kind of just like make sure you're not totally getting wrecked, because obviously for players like myself that have farmed out all of the conquest gear from this season, we are going to be at maximum potential for farming honor in the first week. But I believe in that first week, there is no current active PvP season. So there's going to be like a downtime week where you can check out like the new drive system for the expansion. You can kind of focus on more casual elements. So don't be too stressed out about this. I think the main thing is get the characters that you want to get to max level, whether that's because you want the transmogs for them or you want to check out the class changes from them with the time walking. And then if you do feel like you've got a little bit extra time on your hands, the comp stomp right now is great. You can farm it out. Another thing that has not been confirmed is whether or not vicious bloodstones will remain as the same currency into the next patch. So if you want to hedge your bet, you could sell half the bloodstones that you've got on the auction house, because they still sell for a really good chunk of gold, and then keep half of them, because then if they are usable next season, you might be able to buy full sockets on your honor gear, and that would give you a little bit of a leg up. So again, maybe you save enough bloodstones to socket one character like your main or something like that. You really want to try and have like some sort of like cutting edge advantage, and then if it ends up getting reset, you only saved enough sockets to socket one character and you got the gold from the rest, right? This is just like a good way of hedging your bet, because there's no confirmation yet on this, and when you log on to PTR, the bloodstones are still currently there. So, and I don't know if they've updated the recipes that are involved with all the crafting items and the crafting system to be able to basically update this item to being something else. So that's my plan basically, is I'm just going to bank enough of these bloodstones to add sockets to my gear on one character. And then, yeah, I'm not going to buy the forged settings though, because these you can only apply to season 1, Whereas this is ambiguous, right? It doesn't say season 1. So don't buy the settings, just keep the bloodstones around. You might be able to socket your character after you get full honor gear, and it's gonna be like a really small advantage, although it will enable you to get something like precognition a little bit more rapidly, especially because these, farming honor for these takes a lot longer than farming honor for the gear, so it can save you some time now that you can kind of do that ahead of time. And it's just something to consider. Again, it might just be the case that this does get totally changed and you can't do that, but I'd rather be, try it out, see if we can anyways. And if we can't, then we can't. The next thing to talk about are PvP rewards. So one to talk about, which is this season reward here. When you go to the PvP tab, I already have it, which is the Vicious Sky Flayer. This mount, apparently it was like bugged and not giving people credit towards it. This right here, the Vicious Sky Flayer, people weren't getting credit for it. I don't know if that bug has been fixed, because when I look at the stats for this mount, it's like the same amount of people have this mount as the Gladiator mount. And obviously this Gladiator mount is one of the hardest Gladiator mounts to get, basically, for many seasons. Like in Dragonflight, I think the stats that I saw, it was like 5 times as many players had the Gladiator mount in the first season of Dragonflight than this mount in the War Within. This is going to be a very rare Gladiator mount, and it's also a very challenging one to get. Those are kind of the 2 main focused PvP mounts that you're going to want to keep an eye on going after. Now the Sky Flayer, he's not as hard. You just got to get above 1,000 rating, and you just have to win a certain amount of games. Now it can probably be a lot of games to win, and with how much time is left, so if you really want this guy, definitely start queuing up. I'm going to say that it's probably easier to get it in solo shuffle. As a healer is likely going to be the fastest method, because you get a lot of rating when you win. So you can get over that 1,000 threshold a lot faster than in Battleground Blitz, which can be a bit safer. Not that you can't do it in Battleground Blitz, I just think it's going to take more games. If you play a healer in shuffle, or just a healer in general, this is going to be like the fastest way to speed run it. I've got some guides as well on my channel. If you're thinking about picking up a class, I'd recommend Holy Paladin. Again, because this is a count-wide mount, so you can do it on any character. So Holy Paladin is probably going to be like your best bet for just like powering through this with how strong it is, the cooldowns that it has, and how straightforward it is currently in this patch in order to get this reward. And it's probably the best class, honestly, if you were going to try and go for the Gladiator mount in order to find a team, because just being a healer in general in PvP is super important. Plunderstorm rewards are also going away. So if you want to get the transmogs and the mounts that are for a limited time here in Plunderstorm, definitely make sure that you get those, because those are going to be gone with the patch. An amount that I actually kind of want to go after, which I don't have right now, is the Diamond Mech Suit, which is from completing the Keystone Master for Mythic Plus. I might go tank and get it, because this mount, this is the only skin of this mount, and it's not copy pasted for the rest of the expansion. It's a completely different visual for the Mythic Plus mount next season. It's the Goblin Mecha Tank kind of looking thing. So like, this is completely unique model. So I'm thinking about getting it, although it's not that rare. When I looked at the stats, it's something like 23% of the accounts. So maybe it's not that hard to get. So maybe, as a main PvP, maybe I can switch over to a tank or something, and I maybe can get my hands on this, because this guy is going to be going away forever. And then the next one is Zekvir, which is the dirigible, if I can even remember how to spell that name. The Diver's dirigible. So you can get a golden version of this for killing Zekvir, and I am definitely going to be doing that challenge. If you'd like to follow that along with that, I also stream. It's linked in the description down below. I've been doing a lot of PvP challenges. I've gotten over 2,400 already in solo shuffle, and probably, I think, at least almost 20 of the specializations now this season. Was trying to go for the whole board, ignoring tank specs. And I'm honestly getting pretty close in that regard, but maybe thinking about branching out and trying out some new challenges as well here with Delves and with Mythic Plus, especially because of all the improvements to the systems that they've made for both of them moving into the next season. But this is obviously a mount that you're going to want to make sure that you get your hands on before it's gone, which is going to be the golden Delver's dirigible for killing Zekvir, I think, on his hardest difficulty. And I'm going to be figuring out what class can do that the easiest, probably, because my item level in PvE on my characters is pretty low right now. So maybe this is going to be nice also for you from your perspective, because maybe you're not a hardcore PvEer with a huge item level, and it's going to be pretty challenging to get it. But definitely something to consider. Another thing too is elite sets. So you can get elite PvP sets. So for the Druid, it's this one here, and you get this for getting 1,800 rating basically on a class. Now this is class specific, so you can't kind of do the trick with the Holy Paladin. If you like the way a specific set looks, you're gonna have to play that class and a spec of that class in order to get to that 1,800 threshold, in order to get this appearance. And there are also weapon enchant appearances, so you can get Holy Fire, which is this one, which adds that kind of holy glow, a little bit of Ragnaros fire radiating through it, it, which you can apply to all of your weapons, which will be a higher rating than the elite set, but not too far off of it. And there are obviously tabards as well as cloaks, if I can even remember how to pull that open, which again, a little bit higher than the elite set that you got to go after if you want to get this one. It's a very unique model with this tabard. It's like a spider face with a jewel encrusted on it with the red eyes here. Very, representative of the patch with Ashkahet and all the spiders going on. And there are elite weapon appearances, which are going to be very difficult for me to find probably. So hopefully I can just search it, but apparently I cannot. It's because I'm looking at Legion artifacts. So you can get like this red kind of set. All the daggers, all the different weapons, they come in like this red weapon glow. So if you've got any sort of transmogs, these will unlock account wide, regardless of specs. So if you're doing the recommendation that I said for Holy Paladin, you'll be able to get all of these types of forged kind of blood red rewards, regardless of that effect. And I think that's pretty much it as far as your most of the main. I guess if you were doing the raid as well, cutting edge is going to be going away, which is in the achievements tab. If I can remember how to open the achievements tab, which I don't actually have. I don't really care about the cutting edge achievement too much, but the cutting edge achievement is going to be going away. So if that's something that you want to make sure that you've got unlocked on your account, then make sure you get in there and you get it done before it's gone, because it's coming quick. It's only 2 weeks left. So I wanted to make this video to update you guys on what was going on with this, and what you can do still, and what are the best ways to prepare for the patch. And other than that, I found this very interesting post on Reddit, on potential ways of improving PvP. And they want to introduce these PvP quests that teach people how to play arenas. And I actually thought that this was a very interesting way of going about it. A weekly quest that tells you to interrupt, ground, or silence 10 crowd control spells. So to use the baseline kit to stop incoming crowd control effects. Using defensive abilities in arena, you get a little check mark. Do X damage in less than X seconds 10 times. So learning how to maximize your burst damage. Or crowd controlling a healer 10 times. Just kind of like basic effects that as a new player, it's like, oh, I didn't know that I could ground crowd control spell, so I'll try and do that. And putting like in-game quests, rewards that give you more honor for doing that, and a way for you to practice the mechanics that is a little bit less, kind of like training style, and a little bit more fun and rewarding. I thought this was a very interesting post, and it had a lot of upvotes on it as well. I don't know how difficult something like this obviously would be to implement into the game, but I think that is the biggest thing, is when players come in, giving them a route to becoming a master, right? Whereas they jump in, everyone seems so good at the game, and they're just like, well, I'm just getting owned. I don't know what to do. I'm done. I'm out. So giving people a path to mastery, I think it's really important. I think it's oversimplifying the game and making it really easy. Then you got a game where everybody gets bored of it after a certain period of time. You got a game that's really complex. People might feel like they're lost. They got no direction. They don't know how to get there, and they get overwhelmed. But that isn't because the complexity is inherently bad. It's just that there's no route on teaching the player to advance and level up, right? So like on the piano, playing some of the hardest songs is really complicated, but you don't start with the most complicated songs. You start with some of the basic songs like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then because you can advance, it's fun. You can grow. You can play the piano for basically your entire life. Whereas if you could only play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the piano, you're probably getting bored of that piano. So for me, I feel like systems like this would be a really nice step up, in order to get players into the game and kind of elevating them and increasing that player base, personally. But that's just my 2 cents on this post that I found I wanted to give you at the end of the video here. So thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.